So welcome everyone this evening to this festival, Radha Gopinath Mandir. Very wonderful festival for Lord Nrsimhadev, the half lion, half man, form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One time, our spiritual master, our spiritual teacher said, the Lord appears in this particular form to convince the atheist that God does not exist. Try to work on that one. The Lord is also reciprocating with atheists. They want some evidence to show that He doesn't exist. So He appears in the form, one of the forms of Nrsimhadev, to help convince them that there is no God. Because their idea of God is always something measurable, something perceivable with material senses. Just like Hiranyakashipu. I'm sure you're aware that today is the auspicious occasion. Maybe you're not all aware, but today is the occasion when we honor the appearance of this form of Krishna. I think there's a painting behind me, is that correct?
Yes.
There. Quite a, is it painting or a photograph?
Photograph.
You can't see it from here. Lord Narasimha in Mayapur in India. But sometimes you see paintings, I don't know if you've got one up here or not. Sometimes they're a little gruesome from material perspective. Is what type of God is this that you're worshipping? What is this? Look at him! Fierce teeth, claws, looks like an animal, looks like a lion. Narasimha, Nara is man, Singha is lion. Some of you may be from Singapore. Who's from Singapore? Singapore. Hey, I see your hands going up there. Hey, from Singapore, Jai. And then the city, the Pura, the town of the lion city. Singapore. Narasimha, Narasimha, half man, half lion. Another story. I mean, if you believe, this is the unique thing. If you believe that God appears, it can appear as a half man, half lion, where do you get it from? Where's that information coming from? Okay, this is one of the sources, Srimad Bhagavatam, Narasimha Purana, maybe in other places. You find descriptions are there. We have to read the whole thing to understand the whole point, the whole purpose, the whole reason behind it. He's not an animal. There's a whole story behind this wonderful form of the Lord. And I presume, I don't know, there's a drama this evening, is that right? They're doing a drama?
Yes.
Correct? Yes. Is it about Lord Nrsimhadev?
Yes.
It is. Yes or no?
Yes.
It is. Is it depicting the pastimes or what's it doing? Pastimes? Anybody know what the drama is about? What's it about? Huh? The killing of Hiranyakashipu? Okay, so he won't tell the story of the killing of Hiranyakashipu. We'll leave you in suspense. But today is the day when Hiranyakashipu is delivered. It's his Tirobhav, when he's released from this material world. Sometimes people think death, well, it's horrible, but when the Supreme Lord himself personally kills somebody, doesn't sound very nice, but actually we're all being killed by the impersonal form of God in the form of time. Death catches us all. But personally, that means that person is very special. They get to not just liberation, they may even go back to the spiritual world to be with the Supreme Lord. He's a very special person. He doesn't bother with most of us. We're not that special. He just leaves it up to his time form. The agencies of his material energies deal with it quite easily. As a cycle of karma sweeps everyone along. Wheel of time, Kala Chakra. When the Lord performs, now it's not just that. He's performing amazing pastimes. Now we're hearing about these pastimes. They're very deep. They represent, you could say, in our own lives, as we were hearing this morning a little bit, they represent, as Hiranyakashipu was a great demon. He was terrorizing the universe, including his own son, who was a great devotee named Prahlad Maharaj. But he was a terrifier. He was really terrifying. And he was pretty much ruthless. And so he represents, Hiranya means gold. Kashipu means soft beds. That means one whose intention in life is to enjoy wealth and, from the male point of view, wealth and women. Which for many people, that's basically you can say the epitome or the perfection of their lives if they can get lots of wealth and lots of nice women. Stop laughing. He's laughing for the right purposes. He knows how futile this is, this endeavor. For thinking that we can be happy, that we can conquer. Hiranyakashipu thought he could conquer the universe, like more or less we all do in our own little worlds. We can't even conquer our toilet room, but we think we can conquer the universe. I'm in charge, or whatever it is. Mine, this is mine. This is mine. It's a dog mentality. This is my patch. Get off of my patch. This is the dogs, huh? You go to India, huh? Especially in Vrindavan, they have their patches. One dog walks 1 inch over the boundary, they know it. Oh, packs there. Humans are worse, far worse. They're just a bit more sophisticated in doing it, but it's basically the same thing, much worse in fact. Trespassers will be shot, not prosecuted. Shot in some places. Every way, we're so possessive, we're so much into hours, mine, hours. Drawing the barriers, drawing the boundaries and so on. Mentally, physically. These are all locking the soul in this material illusory world. It's the mentality which has to be killed, not the body. Yes, people think that by killing the body or by smashing the deity, we've finished them. No way. The Supreme Lord is not stone. We may see stone because we have stone heart. You see through stone, you see stone. You look through material eyes, you see material. Atakshi Krishna Namadi Nabhavat Grayam Indriya. Sevanmukhahi Jivados Flyam Eva Sparatyadaha. With material senses, everything's material. We perceive everything as material. You cannot see spirit with material senses. They have to be purified. But people with material senses see everything like that. They think with the body, that's the biggest disease on the planet. We may define it in other ways. But the biggest disease in this world is that human beings are thinking they're the body. And all the problems in the world are based on that illusion. That is the greatest sin on the planet. It's a sin. And it's a sin that people are not being educated otherwise. You hardly find any education teaching who we are. Rather, we're taking education, you are this, you are that, and you have to act accordingly, causing unlimited, never-ending problems and anxieties and karmic reactions unending. The education is not being given. And people have no concept or a real understanding of what is spirit, who is God, who am I, if there is a God at all, why am I suffering, where am I going, what is this world for? Money and soft beds and women and money. Money, money. Power, power. Enjoy, enjoy. Family life. Yes, you have to have your family life, but that is not the goal of life. It is a stepping stone to realize that is not the purpose of our life. The journey we have to go through. The purpose is to realize we do not belong here. The purpose of human life is to get out of this world. To give up having any more life within this material world. And to realize our real spiritual identity. When one can treat others and treat this world from a different perspective. Not just me, how it affects me all the time, or us all the time. This is material mentality, just like an animal mentality, basically. It's really the same thing, it's just a little more sophisticated. Human life is very, very special. I'll give you an example. The Prahlad Maharaj, the son of Hiranyakashipu, instructs his demoniac schoolmates. When he was sent to school by his father, Hiranyakashipu, to learn diplomacy, to learn economics, to learn how to cheat, to learn how all the necessary things to enjoy this world, so to speak. Prahlad Maharaj was not a very good student. He was a very naughty student. I'm sure all you boys and girls here today are very good students, aren't you? You are learning nicely at school, isn't it? Keshava, what have you learned today at school? Tell me. What have your teachers been teaching you? I hope they've taught you correctly. Well, Prahlad Maharaj, whenever they had a little tiffin break, a little break in between the lessons taught by Sanda and Amarka, Prahlad Maharaj was very busy. And here's some things which he said. He's teaching his young schoolmates. One who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form or body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary, like other bodies, it is meaningful, because in human life, one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. He goes on to describe the value of this human life. It's just a young boy, 5 years of age or something. And he tells him, don't waste your life. Don't waste it. We spend half of our life sleeping almost. Another quarter of our life in youth trying to enjoy. Another quarter of life we're so old we can't do much. And in between we're busy making money and trying to enjoy sense gratification. Don't waste your life playing ball and so many other things. Use this valuable life. Kamasyanendriya pratilabho jivetya vadaha jivasya tattva jignas natayasya karmavihi. Use this life for jivasya tattva jignas, inquiry into the nature of the spirit or the absolute truth. Not for kamasya, that means sense enjoyment, kama. Nendriya, don't use the senses for kama or for sense enjoyment. Use them for inquiring into the nature of the absolute truth. That should be the goal of our life. People who don't know this. You may come from India, you may come from Timbuktu, but people don't know. You may come from India and still are just completely entrapped in the bodily concept of life. Go to the temple, salute the deities, whatever you do, and remain in the bodily concept of life. And asking, what for? Material things. Okay, we need them. And that's pious. But it's not going to deliver us from this world. It's not going to save the world. The whole world's doing that. We're all going in the same path, as Prahlad Maharaj says himself. I'll just read another verse spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. This is a very interesting verse. When Hiranyakasipu, he was very concerned because he heard that from the teachers, he heard that Prahlad was a naughty boy at school and was actually preaching the wrong topics. He was talking about the enemy, Vishnu, God. What's going on here? When Hiranyakashipu received, well, let's go back a few verses so we get the full swing here. Nice passage. Yes. There we go. So one day, Hiranyakashipu, he called his son, and Sandanamarka brought Prahlad before Hiranyakashipu. When Hiranyakashipu saw his little boy fall at his feet, he was very polite, even though his father was number one demon. He fell at his feet. Hiranyakashipu picked up his son, affectionately placed him on his lap, embraced him in both arms. Naturally, a father likes to embrace his son. And he patted his head, smelled his head, and so on. Affectionate embrace like that. He was very happy. In this way, Prahlad sat on the lap of his father. Hiranyakashipu said, "My dear Prahlad, my dear son, O long-lived one, for so much time you have heard many things from your teachers. Now please repeat to me whatever you think is the best of that knowledge." Keshava, what is the best of the knowledge which you have learned from your teachers? Please tell me. Excuse me? Sri Parad replied, went on like this. Lord Maharaj saying, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu. Remembering them, serving lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. Oh, thank you, Prahlad. That's very interesting. Well, not quite like that, but more or less. Long purple. It's the longest purple in Bhagavatam, I think. After hearing these words of devotional service from the mouth of his son Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu was very enlightened. Oh, excuse me, moment. He was very angry, his lips trembling. He spoke as follows to Sanda, the son of his guru, Shukracharya. Oh, unqualified, most heinous son of a Brahmin! You have disobeyed my order, taken shelter of the party of the enemies. You have taught this poor boy about devotional service. What is this nonsense? In due course of time, various diseases are manifest in those who are sinful. Similarly, in this world, there are many deceptive friends in false garbs. But eventually, because of their false behavior, their actual enmity becomes manifest. He was quite angry with the teachers, thinking that they had taught Prahlad Maharaj about devotional service, the very, you could say, epitome of that which should not be taught. The very thing which is detestful to Hiranyakashipu. Sometimes we find even our own parents a little bit like this. Sometimes. When their son or daughter wants to take to Krishna consciousness, they do everything under the sun to try to dissuade them. Not realizing the only purpose of life is Krishna consciousness. Everything else is shrama evahi kevalam, a waste of time. If it doesn't help us to develop our Krishna consciousness, sorry to say, it's just another illusory dream in the cycle of Maya. Another dream. And they're not always such nice dreams either. We're meant to wake up from our dream. So Prahlad Maharaj is not dreaming, he's talking reality. The son of Shukracharya, Sanda, Marka 2, Sanda is mentioned. Hiranyakashipu's spiritual master said, "Oh, enemy of King Indra, oh king, whatever your son Prahlad has said was not taught to him by me or anyone else. His spontaneous devotional service has naturally developed in him. Therefore, please give up your anger. Do not unnecessarily accuse us. It is not good to insult a Brahmana in this way." A little afraid. Now the Muni then continued. When Hiranyakashipu received this reply from his teacher, he again addressed his son, Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu said, "You rascal, most fallen of our family, if you have not received this education from your teachers, where have you gotten it from? Prahlad Maharaj replied, Nitya Krishna Paratoks Vatova Nipo Vipayeti Vihavitam Adanto Vishatam Tamisham Punascharvita Charanam. Prahlad Maharaj sang. Because of their uncontrolled senses, persons addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life, and who have therefore accepted as their leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external material sense objects, cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home, back to Godhead. And engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As blind men, guided by another blind man, miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men, led by another materially attached man, are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in material life, suffering threefold miseries. This wasn't very pleasing, by the way, to Hiranyakashipu. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way can one be free from material contamination. Hiranyakashipu, after hearing this, blinded by anger, threw his child off his lap, and you'll have to wait tonight to find out what happened. Hare Krishna. So this is actually the difference. The Maya mentality, Krishna himself, speaking to Arjuna, states, Yada yada hi dharmasya, glanir bhavati bharata bhutanam dharmasya tadatmanam shacham, paritranaya sadam vinashya tudushti, dharma samstapanata, sambhavami yuge. The Lord appears in this world again and again. He doesn't come because of karma. Karma, contrarily speaking, is under his control. He is not under the control of karma. He doesn't come into this world because of karma. He doesn't come into this world to sightsee. He doesn't come into this world looking for a job or a good education in Sydney University. Not what he comes here for. He comes here to establish true religious principles. And he comes here, paritranaya sadhanam, to enliven his devotees. Just like Prahlad Maharaj and all the devotees are so enlivened by this pastime, actually, when we hear the whole pastime. It's so enlivening. It's so uplifting, so purifying. By the Lord's pastimes, if we hear those pastimes, it has that effect upon us. In the sense of purifying, removal of the obstacles on the path of devotional service, removal of the mentality of Hiranyakashipu, is seeing himself in the center as the enjoyer. This is the diseased condition of life. That disease can be cured by hearing this wonderful pastime of Lord Nrsingadev. He appears in this world for all of our benefit, to remove. The Lord Maharaj prays, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasingaya Namaste Jastejase Avir Avir Bhava Vajradangsha Karma Shayan Vinaya Vindayatamo Grasa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Abhayam Atmoni Bhuyashtam Shram. He prays to the Lord like this. Please, please remove with your fierce nails. Please take out all of my material motivations and desires. Purify my heart. Free me from envy. Free me from our enemies. We have certain enemies. The enemies are not Hiranyakashipu. He's a manifestation of one who is controlled by the enemy. The enemy is not Hiranyakashipu. Our own enemy is within us, within our own heart. Later on, this is also described by Prahlad Maharaj. He said, you are thinking that Lord Vishnu is your enemy, but actually the enemy is within you. The enemy is your lust, greed, anger, illusion, madness, and envy. These are the enemies which we all live with. And we think they're our friends sometimes. We serve them. We try to serve our lusty desires. We're busy, greedy, becoming greedy sometimes. We sometimes get angry for various reasons. Sometimes we're envious, illusion, mad. Mad doesn't mean mad in the sense of necessarily unstable in the mind by material designation or definition, but rather mad in the sense that we think this life is the purpose of life, and we're madly trying to pursue it as if we're going to, like a deer in the desert running after the mirage, or a donkey with a carrot in front of it, thinking if I keep going forward I'll get the carrot, but you don't get it. Not how it works. Try and try and try, you get a little bit of relief, and then it's gone. Material life. So these are our enemies. They're the ones who have to be dealt with, not the persons outside. So although literally speaking we can say here Lord Nrsingadev was directly confronted because of Hiranyakashipu's behavior towards Prahlad, is attempt to kill him in fact. So he came to protect his devotee there, no doubt about that. But the real protection or the real mercy of Lord Nrsingadev is that he removes these unwanted motivations or tendencies within our hearts. They're our real enemies. They have to be rooted out. Otherwise, there's no solution. There's no solution. Just killing the body, knocking things down, doing it doesn't change anything because the very cause behind them is still the same. It's the change of our consciousness, the change of our hearts which has to take place. And by hearing this pastime, it helps us, it purifies our consciousness, it helps us to become a little released from that, misconception of life. All these various enemies which plague us. So then, we'll read a few more verses here. Intelligent, indignant and angry, his reddish eyes like molten copper, Hiranyakashipu said to his servants, "Oh demons! Take this boy away from me! He deserves to be killed. Kill him as soon as possible!" Prahlad's only fault was that he was a devotee. Otherwise he was a very submissive, wonderful young son. But because he was a devotee, Hiranyakashipu was so angry. And he goes on with various words of criticism, etc. So then they tried every way they could to kill Prahlad. but they couldn't kill him. Try as they may, they couldn't kill him. The Lord was not allowing them to kill him. They couldn't understand what was going on. I think I've scared some kids out there. I usually do. I've had kids run out of the room many a time. And there is dramas. At any rate, eventually, we'll come here, this is phenomenal. Oh, most impotent, most unintelligent disruptor of the family, oh, lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you. And that's the thing, when people get out of our grip, sometimes we get very angry, even our own children. We want them to do what we want them to do, as if we own them or something. And therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yaraj. My son blood, you rascal. You know that when I am angry, all the planets of the three worlds tremble, along with their chief rulers, by whose powers a rascal like you becomes so impotent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you. Prahlad replied, my dear king. Another verse he addresses his father. Oh, best of the demons. My dear king, the source of my strength, of which you were asking, is also the source of yours. Indeed, the original source of all kinds of strength is one. He is not only your strength, or mine, but the only strength for everyone. Without him, no one can have any strength. Whether moving or not moving, superior or inferior, everyone, including Lord Brahma, is controlled by the strength of the Supreme Personality of God. The Supreme Personality of God, who is the supreme controller of the time factor, is the power of the senses, the power of the mind, the power of the body, and the vital force of the senses. His influence is unlimited. He is the best of all living entities, the controller of the three modes of material nature. By his own power, he creates this cosmic manifestation, maintains it, and annihilates it. My dear father, please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoise toward everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy in this world. Except for the misguided and uncontrolled mind, there is no enemy in this world. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes to the position of worshipping the Lord perfectly. In former times there were many fools like you who did not conquer the 6 enemies that steal away the wealth of the body. As we just mentioned, those 6 enemies. These fools were very proud, thinking, I have conquered all enemies in all the 10 directions. But if a person is victorious over the 6 enemies, and is equipoised toward all living entities, for him there are no enemies. Enemies are merely imagined by one in ignorance. Prahlad didn't compromise. He continued to preach to the last moment. But his preaching was really for the benefit of his father and the benefit of every one of us. And then, of course, Hiranyakashipu completely lost it. He couldn't handle that. That was the beginning of the end of Hiranyakashipu. And we'll hear about that later on this evening. Well, on this very auspicious day, try to consider these points seriously in our lives. We're here in this day and age, in this age of Kali, the age of materialism, the age of hypocrisy, the age of quarrel, where generally speaking people are not so inclined towards spiritual or self-realization, maybe to the extent that it facilitates their material needs, nice yoga exercises or some highest religious practice. But very people really are missing a great and golden opportunity to actually attain love of God. Lord Narasimha, although he doesn't appear to be a form you might like to want to have a conjugal loving relationship with exactly, unless you happen to be a half man, half lion form yourself. But he is a very special expansion of the Supreme Lord. He's an expansion of the Lord who appears in certain situations for certain purposes. And those purposes, as we've heard from the Bhagavad Gita, particularly to protect his devotees and to perform wonderful pastimes which we can hear about, and to remove the demoniac desires within them. He appears in this world. So many different avatars or forms of the Lord appear in this world. They're unlimited because God is unlimited. Supreme Being can do anything. The quality of the real understanding is inconceivable to material senses. It cannot be measured. He can do anything he likes. If we say that God cannot do something, that means we're not talking about God, because the meaning of God, the Supreme Person, means he can do anything. Anything he wishes is within his grasp. I'm telling one man, he tested Srila Prabhupada one time, and he was trying to chant him. He said, if you say your God is unlimited, and he can do anything, can he lift a mountain? Can he make a mountain which he cannot lift? Can he make a mountain which he cannot lift? Prabhupada said yes, and then he'll lift it. He can do anything. If he wants to create something bigger than all the creations, he can do what he likes. If he wants to appear in any form, he can do that. As human beings or as conditioned souls, we have to wait or make some artificial arrangement to make such changes. Maybe at some fancy dress ball we put on different dresses. We like to also take on different positions, etc. But we are very limited. Krishna can do anything he likes by design. Anything he wishes. He took on this form for a very long reason. I guess we'll hear about that later on tonight. To thwart all the various promises which Lord Brahma had given to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was bewildered. He didn't know what was facing in the great battle between these two individuals took place. An amazing result there. Lord Narasimha didn't just leave it with Hiranyakashipu. He also gave his mercy to all the other demoniac associates of Hiranyakashipu. So similarly, if any one of us takes seriously the Krishna consciousness, we can then really benefit others. We can help others to remove their demoniac mentality or their materialistic motivations in life. It doesn't sound to most people that there's anything wrong with material motivations, and naturally we have them because we're in the material world. That's why we're here. But we have to cure them. Unless they say, physician, cure yourself. Unless we ourselves are cured, how can we help anyone else to become cured? If we're bound up by ropes, how can we unbind anyone else? We have to free ourselves. It's a golden opportunity. Don't just pass it by another religion, another way of life or whatever. It's not. This is a simple, maybe difficult to apply, process of perfecting our human form of life. It's nothing to do with which religion we are, where we come from, what gender we are, how old we are. Every one of us is a spirit soul, as we just said there by Prahlad Maharaj. Vidyavanaya sampani brahmaniga vihasni shuri chaiva shripakachas pandita samadarshina You should see with equal vision. One who's actually learning. One who's actually learning it sees with equal vision. Every living entity. He's sober, he's not mad. A maddened person is one who is seeing with differentiation, discrimination. He's discriminating friends and enemies according to how they affect us. The Lord is not seen like that. He appears to be, but he reciprocates according to our relationship with him. As they surrender unto me, Krishna says, I reward them accordingly. The Lord is reciprocating with everybody. All we have to do is to, if we show affection towards the Lord, he shows affection towards us. He's not going to force himself on us. He's not forcing. Just like the moon, it doesn't discriminate exactly. It depends whether we take advantage of its presence. So Krishna also, he's making himself available to all of us. On this auspicious day, Narasimha Caturdashi, Lord Narasimha Dev is giving this opportunity for all of us to become purified. For all of us to clear the path so we can develop our love for Krishna. As long as we have these material desires in our heart, we can't really love Krishna. As Prahlad Maharaj just said, Matirna Krishna Padataksvatova, Vito Vipadyeti Vihavitanam, to go here, Vitam Vishram Panapanascharva Tacharvananam. For those who are too attached, to go here means sense enjoyment. Vilavata means the bondage or the entanglement in family life. We have to do our duty as long as we're in that position. But that's not the goal of life. As long as we're entangled or we think that is the goal of life, then Matirna Krishna, our attraction towards Krishna will never take place. No matter how we try. It's not just some sentimental, process. It's not just some ritualistic program. It's a reality. It's a reality. We all have a relationship with Krishna. It's just coated over. Our attention is diverted in so many, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, for those who are on this spiritual path, they're resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. Focused, everybody is focused on the goal. But the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. They've got many intentions. They're engaged in sense gratification and don't realize that this is the cause of their suffering. And too much attention. Bodhaishvaya pasaktanam taya pavita chetasam vyavasaya pakavati samadhi novidiyate. And too attached to bhoga and sense gratification and wealth, then the resolute determination which is necessary to awaken that love of Godhead does not take place. So first we have to live Vishaya Chariya Kabe Shura Habiman Kabe Hama Hera Bhushi Vrindavan. We want to go to Vrindavan and the Vishaya Chariya. We have to be willing to give up sense gratification. And the way to do that is very positive. It's not all just give it up. That's not our process. We can't do that. The process is learning how to engage it on the positive side. How to engage our senses in Krishna's service. Rishikena, Rishikesha, Bhaktaseva, Rishike. How to engage the senses in the service of the Supreme Lord. That's the point. The transformation is not giving up things exactly, but to learn Abanda Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Varaguchate, to learn how everything is to be utilized in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not to give things up that can be used. Use our life. Learn how to mold one's family with Krishna consciousness. It's so blessed. It can be blissful if we're actually following that process of doing it for Krishna consciousness. We can work for Krishna. We can do anything for Krishna. Recreation can be for Krishna. Relationships for Krishna, with Krishna in the center. We can build for Krishna. We can cook for Krishna. We can clean for Krishna. We can think for Krishna. We can sleep for Krishna. We can do everything for Krishna. We just have to learn that process of how to do it. That's the real education. How to, whatever we are, even if we are like a little Hiranyakashipu, we can still, nonetheless, be transformed. Because ultimately everything is spiritual. It simply has to be like a transformer, transforming the electricity in various ways. Where's Sachinanda? Here he is. He's very much involved in You have transformers. What do they do?
From high voltage to low voltage.
Yes, they convert the voltage of electricity from high to low so that it can be usable. Imagine what it would be like if you had 250,000 volts coming out of your, electric socket. What would happen? You plugged it in with it, you put your electric kettle in, and there's 250,000 volts. What would happen? Huh? Probably burn more than just the kettle, right? And burn us as well. Explode. It's not, you've got to know what is relevant, what is our position, and engage like that. Then we've all got something. Everything we have belongs to Krishna, as Prahlad just said. It belongs to Krishna. The power, the energy, the talents that we have are all Krishna's. We just have to learn how to use them for Krishna. And then we can be happy, we're reconnected. We can reconnect with the power source. We don't have to fight against it anymore. There are no enemies. Everything belongs to the same Supreme. Everything is His energy. We have to learn how to engage the energy we've got, then we can help others to engage their energy. They say this isn't when you're on the airplanes, if there's a drop in the air pressure, there will be this thing that falls down from the ceiling. It's mask. Put it on your mouth like this, but put it on yourself first and then put it on your children or whatever it is. We've got to get ourselves out first. In the process that we can also help others, but really speaking, the duty is our own. There we got our own wonderful challenge, exciting challenge, homework to do. It's not homework like we do at school necessarily, arithmetic or whatever you do. It's our homework. How to actually understand that what we are, what we've been given, is simply Krishna's mercy, and how to use that in Krishna's service. Then we can be happy. But as long as we're trying to use it in my service, and someone else is trying to use theirs in their service, and someone else their service, there will always be clash, there will always be misunderstanding, there will not be harmony, there will not be peace, but Krishna is the controller of everything. Sarvalokam Heshwam, Suridam Sarvabhukam, Gyatvanam Chanting. He's the enjoyer of everything. He's the controller of everything, the friend of everyone. One who understands this can get freedom from the pangs of material existence. One can become free of the pangs of material existence. This is the process. So Lord Narasimha has come to free us, not to harm us, but to help free us from that which is causing us no end of bondage, suffering, and material. What is it freeing? Freeing us from seeing ourselves, from the false ego, seeing ourselves in the center as the enjoyer, and so on. It's just like a Hiranyakashipu was seeing himself as the enjoyer. When anything gets in our way, we become upset. It may be a family member, it may be something else. In the case of Hiranyakashipu, was a family member, and he got really angry. It was his own son, his beloved son. So that's our situation. Now it's time almost, I think, for a few more minutes. Hare Krishna. Shri Narasimha Bhagavan ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. So stay around, there's going to be Arti, Abhishek, drama, Prashadam is being served ongoing. Please take advantage of these days, these festival days, to reignite our devotional spirits. They give us all a chance to engage in service. They're very joyful, they're very enlightening, and very pleasing to the Lord to honor these festival days. So please take advantage. One of the most important festivals in our calendar is Lord Narasimha's appearance. We remove all the obstacles on our path of devotional service. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Janananda Goswami Maharaj Ji ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much.